Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we have a surprise review. Yeah, for any of you who are familiar with the channel, get that little bit of dust out of here, you'll know that I normally post one review every Friday and then another video on Saturdays, like a discussion topic or something like that. But today I'm posting two. I believe this video is going to be coming out with the review of the Gerber Asada, I think. Anyways, the reason there's going to be two reviews on this day is because I just really want to talk about this knife, and a lot of my content is pre-recorded. I have pre-record content stretching forever, and I just want to get this video out as soon as possible because this is a knife I've had for a good little while, and I really want to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get into it. And yeah, the Gerber Asada review, that's going to be one of the videos I filmed while I was still home on the ranch, and this is going to be one that I'm filming here at college. So let's go ahead and jump in to the review. So this is the Kubey Raven. Does it have a model number? Just a sec, let me check my notes. I mean, obviously it does have a model number, but the model number is a KB245. I guess it's a good time to do specs. We have a blade length of 3.93 inches, so just about 4 inches. We have a handle length of 4.72 inches, overall length 8.66 inches, so not a small knife at all. We have a weight of about 4.4 ounces. This is a newer Kubey, and this is a collaboration between Kubey and Jelly Jerry Designs. I think that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Jelly Jerry. Let's get right into our size comparisons. Here he is against our Rat 1. So they're just about the same size. Here's our Rat 2. So obviously bigger than the Rat 2. Next up, let's grab our usual Civivis. Here's the Praxis. And here's the Elementum. So yeah, kind of a long, slender knife. Let's get our bug out and our PM2. There we go. And what else do we want to do for size compare? Oh, yeah. Let's do our Gerbers, of course. This is our mini paraframe. Our large paraframe. My size comparisons tend to take a while. I like to compare to a bunch of different knives just so that I'm pretty certain that anyone watching has at least experienced one or two of the knives I show. And last up for size comparisons, this is the Tucson Dreadnought, the 227. And the reason we're comparing this guy is because this is another Jelly Jerry design. And you can definitely see some family resemblance there. So, cool. So as far as the knife itself, we're looking at a drop point blade made of AUS 10 with G10 handles, steel liners, and a titanium clip. This is actually my first experience with AUS 10 outside of Cold Steel. They're pretty well known for it. And I think Cold Steel does it pretty well. And I'm fairly impressed with the steel here too. So, this knife, besides seeing this murdered out version here, it also comes with there's a black handle with a satin blade and a satin pocket clip, and there's a green handle with a satin blade and a satin clip. So 3 different versions that I know of. Price on these guys is $59, and is it worth it? Let's go cut some cardboard, talk about some ergos, talk about some action, and then we'll be back and we'll make a final conclusion. Alright, let's go ahead and use, oh boy, our Kubey Raven. We'll talk about what happened there in just a sec. But let's go ahead and use this knife to destroy this old pizza box and I am getting crumbs all over the place. That's okay, we're gonna roll with it. So, yeah. So first off, this guy actually has a pretty thin blade. For such a big knife, this is a pretty thin blade, and it's ground pretty thin as well. You can see the tip. It's a pretty fine tip. It's definitely ground quite well, and yeah, it slices like a champ. This is a very, very slicey knife. And you know, a lot of times, long knives like this make fantastic slicers because you have a lot of slicing that you can go through. Let's go ahead and just delimb this box. Preferably without cutting up my table. Yeah, in short, this guy's a slicing beast. I've got absolutely no problems with him. The AUS 10 seems to hold up decently well, especially for the price. I think it's really, really good. How about that action? Yeah, you probably see me playing around with this guy. So you've got, get out of your light a little bit. So we've got a flipper tab, works phenomenally. Yeah, this action is fantastic. Thumb hole works nice. Spidey flick, all day, every day. We'll talk more about the action when I get back to the table, but it's a very smooth, very satisfying action. I really, really like it. Ergos. You look at this knife and just grab some cardboard to hold that against. And it definitely does have very pronounced lines. It's very designed, and it you know, has that kind of flow. The ergonomics on this guy, while I was carrying him, were always confusing me because, I don't know, it seems like sometimes I pull him in my pocket and I grab him and be like, ooh, this is really comfortable, and I go to do my cutting. Other times, grab him, flick him out, and be like, where do my hands go? What is this? Why? But I don't know, overall, I'm going to give him a good score on ergos. If you hold him like this, in like a hammer grip, very comfortable. If you put your thumb up here, also very comfortable. This is the grip I was using for the cardboard homicide just now. However, if you move your hand even just a little bit up, you develop all kinds of hot spots. If you move it back, it's not super comfy. What's weird though is if you hold it all the way back here, it's very comfortable. I don't know, it's just, yeah, and see right there, you know, sometimes you get your, I'm not flipping you guys off, but sometimes you get your middle finger on this little sharp area. It's confusing ergonomically. Very, very confusing. How does it carry? So the weight, like between 4.3, 4.5-ish ounces. I don't mind that. I wear jeans with a belt all the time without exception. I really don't care about how much my knives weigh. What I do care about, though, is the pocket clips. So look here, this titanium clip is a good clip. And it's got plenty of spring. However, I'm not sure if you could hear that, but here, that's what it looks like in the pocket. Just get the hoodie out of the way. So it looks like in the pocket, pretty thin, tucks away to the back real well. But the clip is terribly placed. The clip itself is not terrible, but it's terribly placed. See if you can look down the sights there, so to speak. Back here. I'll show this off again when we get to the table, but the problem here is we have this little swedge in the G10 right there. And the clip
only has one point of contact right on there, which means that on this side the clip is just hanging in free air, and it's only contacting on this little raised area, which means that since there's only that one tiny point of contact, it creates a lot of pressure. It hangs onto your pocket really, really. Well, the knife isn't going anywhere, we'll say that. But yeah, it's a pain. So yeah, carry could definitely be a little bit better. But let's go back to the table and let's talk about what I do and don't like about this guy right here.
Alrighty, so Kubey Raven. What do I like? What do I not like? As always, we're going to start out with the likes. Well, I guess not as always. I've started off with the dislikes a couple times. Whatever. So, first thing I like. This is a good-looking knife, and it's a different looking knife. On paper, it's another budget drop point, but you see it and you're like, yeah, that looks cool. Another thing I like is the name. I know this is a weird thing, but I like that this is called the Raven, and I also like that Kubey is starting to name their knives. I don't like companies that have, this is the sharp knife model TX37-32 ABC. I like it when there's a name with the knife. And with this knife especially, the name fits well. I mean, the Raven. If someone had just handed me this knife, and I'd never seen it before, and they're like, guess what this is called? It would have said the Raven. Because, yeah, it looks like that. And, the other the green version? Why would you even get that when this knife is called the Raven? You got to get the murdered out version. You got to. Next thing I like is seeing Kubey partner with a designer, especially Jelly Jerry. I like his work. Whew. And, yeah. Next, the Austin blade. I think I'm starting to be a fan of Austin. Cold Steel does a great job with it. In fact, I've got, what do I have laying around here right now? Here we go. I have the Cold Steel 8015 Light. Yes, I finally got one. Or not finally, I guess, because they just came out. But yes, I got one. Anyways, this isn't about that knife. Yeah, I like Austin. I thought Cold Steel does a superb job with it. I would still say that Cold Steel's Austin is maybe a little bit better than this, but this works good too. And also, comparing this to Cold Steel's Austin is a little bit weird because this knife, like I said, very, very thin, slicey, and Cold Steel is, well, it's not. But I like that a whole lot. Next thing I like is the blade. This is a good blade. Functional drop point. You have this little area here that allows you to put your thumb on there. There's no jimping, which maybe I would like to see, but I don't think it's a big deal. It's got a thin grind. This is a flat grind. Not a full flat grind, as you can see. You have this little swedge here along the top. You have it's a dainty tip, but one thing that this swedge does, it does kind of bring a tiny bit of strength there to the tip, so I think it's a good blade, especially for EDC. It's functional. This is a big knife, but I think it does work as a really good EDC knife. Next thing I like is a G10. This is actually very pretty G10. Very pretty. So yeah, I like it. It's got nice milling on it. All these different lines here, which we will talk about later, but it looks good. It looks good. Where do I want to go next? As you can see, this guy is chunky. And I kind of like that. I do kind of like chunky knives, especially when the blade is this thin. The knife is that chunky. I don't know. That's what I kind of like. Next thing, lanyard hole. As you can see, they have like a little post back here. I think that's great. It's hidden in the back spacer. If you do lanyards, you have it. If you don't do lanyards, it doesn't interrupt the look of the knife. I'm one of those people that I don't typically put lanyards on my knives, but I have in the past, so it's, if I ever decide to put a lanyard on this guy, I'm glad I can, and if I decide never to do that, I'm glad that it won't matter. matter to me. The next part that's really great here is the action. Yeah, look at that. You have this flipper tab here that's very, very small, very unobtrusive. And it flings that knife out really well. You've got bearings in the pivot. You know, this is a very long blade. It's not very heavy. You have this hole taking out some weight. You have it, you know, it's pretty thin, so that reduces the weight. But man, it does fly out there. And you can spidey flick it real easy. And you can thumb it really nice too. And actually, surprisingly, for me at least, I think thumbing it like that is the most satisfying way to open it. There are some knives that have blade holes, such as the Civivi Dogma, that, I don't know why I flipped it, are great for spidey flicking, but for thumb flicking, I mean, with this knife, let's see if I can do it under the camera. Jeez. Yeah, there we go. You can do it, but it's not that satisfying. And especially since I'm doing it under a camera, geez. There you go. It's not that satisfying. Another example of that would be like the Civivi Odium, which I thought I had out here, but I guess I don't. Which, that one I can't even thumb flick at all. But this knife here, the thumb flicking is just awesome. It's awesome. It's very, very satisfying. So that blade hole, shaped really well. The action is great. Yeah, really, really cool. And I guess that kind of sums up what I like about this guy. Great action, great blade, looks fantastic. Lanyard hole. And, well, another thing, the price at, you know, $59, $60. I think that's a pretty fair price for this. I really do. You're getting, you know, a collaboration between a designer and a company. You're getting good materials, you know, titanium clip, G10, steel liners, Austin, blade steel. Yeah, and actually, you know what? I'm not sure what the hardware is. Let me check that real quick. Grab out my tools. Just grab a bit. I think that is going to be, those aren't T8. So yeah, T8 pivot, T6 hardware. Okay, I was looking at it, I was like, are those T8s? It just looks like that because they're flat. But no, it is T6, T8 hardware. But yeah, I like this knife as a kind of a showpiece. And there are a lot of elements of this knife that I like. I do think it's a good value. But there are some things that I don't like and some things that I think are actual big issues. So let's go ahead and go talk about those. So what do I not like? Before we get into that, let's talk about some things that are kind of neutral. So the first thing in the neutral that I want to point out is the ergos. This knife has very weird ergos. Very weird. As I already talked about a little bit, like, okay, so right here, this is comfortable. This is actually very comfortable. My fingers kind of curl around in there, and this little point here comes up into my hand, but not in like a painful way. But, you know, that's comfortable. If I'm grabbing it in just a hammer grip, that's comfortable. However, if I adjust my hand slightly, if I move my thumb back to here, this is uncomfortable because now this part does hurt. And my pinky's right on top of it. And this little area here is hurting my finger. The clip hurts. If I grab it back like right like this, that hurts as well. If I try and choke up as much as possible, putting my finger right up in there, that hurts too. The flipper tab hurts. This part, again, is an issue. If I grab it like just back here, that's pretty comfortable. But why would I do that? This isn't exactly a chopper. So the ergos are just, they're odd. Once you find that one spot, they're very comfortable. Like right here, this is just so comfortable. You are a little bit far from the edge, but I mean, let's see what happens if you can like, ugh. No, that's terrible. Do not try and use this area to put your finger. That's not good. At least for my hands. So ergos are, they're not good, but they're not, I'm not sure what they are. They're odd. They're very odd. And looking at this knife, you can kind of tell. I mean, look, it looks like it's someone, it's like, oh, sway back horse. There's a little cowboy in here. Woohoo! Welcome to my channel. I don't know, it's just weird. It's just weird. Next thing I want to talk about that's kind of in that not bad, not good area. So they minimize the flipper tab. So, when this knife is in your pocket, the flipper tab is not going to be, sticking out so much, just jabbing everything else in your pocket or whatever. And when you put your hand down in your pocket, it's going to be less obtrusive. However, the way this knife is designed kind of backpedals on the point of having a small flipper tab, because you have this swedge here, or this swoop, this whoosh, and you have this higher area here that brings a small flipper tab further out than this part of the knife. So, I don't know. The reason I'm putting that in just kind of the meh area is because typically I don't carry my phone or my wallet in the pocket that I have my knife in. Usually I'll have like a pencil. I have a pencil in there, so if it's banging up on this, I don't really care. I have a pencil or a pen or something. If I'm carrying a fancier pen, like it's in the other room, but if I'm carrying a good pen, I'll usually keep it in like a shirt pocket or my other pocket. So it doesn't bother me that much, but it might bother some people. Next, the pivot. I don't personally mind it when it's all blacked out like this. I've heard a lot of people complain about the branding on the pivot. I think that's good. In fact, it reminds me a lot of what Civivi does. So I don't really have a complaint there. All right, now let's get into the bad stuff. I guess before that, there's something I forgot to mention. The good. This has a decent sharpening choil. So, woohoo! All right. So in the bad, first thing, this knife is not centered. If you can see that. However, when I got him, he was just a hair further this way. I haven't adjusted him, but as I've used him, he's moved over a little bit more. There's no blade play. This guy locks up rock solid. There's no blade play. But yeah, he's off-centered. That's something that's probably going to vary from knife to knife, and it's not a hard thing to fix. So, in fact, when I'm done with this review, I'll probably fix it here. Next up, something that's a very big problem, in my opinion, and the worst thing about this knife, the pocket clip. Now, the pocket clip itself isn't bad. It's kind of a standard titanium clip. There's enough clearance under there, and it does have good spring to it. However, the placement of the clip is horrible. It's horrible. So as you can see here, as part of the design, you have this little raised area milled into the G10. And as you can see, it comes right through the clip. And what that leaves you with is, if you can look down there, where did I put my flashlight? There we go. See if I can help show this off. Shut up, computer. Computer behind me. Look at this light. I'm not sure if that's coming through. Actually, maybe it'd help if I grab a piece of paper. What is this? Taxonomy? Taphomic evidence. Okay, that's something for a paper I was writing. So if you get that under there, I'm not sure if you can see. No, that doesn't help. Get off your paper. But what's happening basically, there you can see it. You only have one point of contact from that clip to the scales. So the whole clip has this flat area under it, like many clips do, but it's only connecting with the scale in that one spot, which means, you know, basically it's like this. So we have, pretend that this piece of paper is a blown up version of your pocket, and this whole knife is going to be the pocket clip. So if you have wider area under the clip, you put pressure down, it holds on, but it's also able to be pulled out. However, we have just one area connecting. Yeah, as you can see, no good. So this thing is a pain in the pocket. A pain. It's hard going in, and it's even worse coming out. This is a serious issue. It probably could have been fixed by moving the clip up. And another thing, moving the clip up kind of would have helped this knife get back in the pocket a little ways. What would it have done for the ergonomics? Actually, it might have helped the ergonomics in some ways to move the clip up a little bit. Like I said, you know, like in this comfortable spot right here, the clip's not bad. Here, the clip's terrible. I don't know. Just odd. Odd. So, there's what's bad about this knife. And let's go ahead and let's jump right into my final opinions on this guy. I like this knife. I really do. I like this knife a whole lot. I think this is a very unique and awesome offering from Kubey. I like the look of the knife. I'm a big fan of Jelly Jerry and his designs. The knife performs very well. The Aus 10 I've got no problem with. Very slicey. It's a cool looking knife. You know, once you get used to the ergonomics, it's comfortable. It is very comfortable. It's got a great action. Just fantastic action. One of the best. This is just great action. The clip is a problem. The clip placement, I should say, is a problem. Not perfectly centered. I can fix that. As for the clip problem, what I might do, I don't know actually. Let's see. Oh look, there's an even better look at how that clip is. See, I figure all these things out eventually. Don't focus on the butt. There we go. Yeah, there's a good look at it. I'm so smart. I figure stuff out eventually. But, I mean, in all seriousness, I think this is a very cool knife. It does have its flaws, but that's okay. Most knives do. And if you can get by those, you will like this knife a whole lot. I know I certainly do. So, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.